Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Recent finds video, stuff that's come in since the last recent finds video. Might as well kind of call it a what's been spinning video because this is pretty much all the stuff I've been playing over the past week or two. But yeah, some really cool stuff, and let's just kind of dive right in. I've picked up a few box sets, but the one that I wanted to kind of show is this one here. I already took the plastic off of it here for purposes of the video. I'll slide it back on afterwards. But Japanese pressings of the Police, Every Move You Make, the studio recordings. This was kind of a really cool set to pick up because I actually grabbed the vinyl box set a year or two ago, and I found it on sale, picked it up, and just at the time, I wasn't necessarily looking to listen to the Police and blah blah blah, and I just never got around to opening it. Even though they are on those Abbey Road half-speed remasters that I've been kind of ranting and railing about over the past few months. So when this came into the shop and I grabbed it a little while ago, it just kind of made me start to think like, oh, what my favorite Police album is. And so I started just kind of, going through the mental Rolodex, and yeah, that has that on it, this has that on it. But then I decided I'm just going to listen to them all from front to back. And so that's what I kind of have been doing over the past 2 days. I listened to all the studio albums from front to back, and it was kind of a fun new rediscovery of the Police. And I guess at the end of the day, I kind of feel that, Ghost in the Machine is definitely kind of hard to deny, but so is like Synchronicity, because that's really where all the big hits were that I first initially discovered the Police, and then went backwards and found everything else after that. But I may have to give a nod to Ghost in the Machine, and mainly because of the song Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. I honestly feel that first 20 or 30 seconds of that song, between the keyboards and the guitar that's playing there, and the way that Sting delivers that first line, and kind of carries it out with that "in my heart," and the way that he holds that, I just think that's like the most beautiful thing that the Police ever wrote and ever recorded. It's just absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so awesome box set there. Not really a ton to show with this one, because there's not like obies and stuff that go with them. There's all kind of mini LPs. They come with a little booklet there. So, but yeah, really cool set, and it was really fun. Like I said, kind of going through and rediscovering the Police, so to speak, as if you ever forget them in the first place. So that was a really cool box set there. Going into the vinyl, I'm going to start with actually stuff that I showed in my last video, which is the VCLT thanks, but this stuff was so awesome that it's worth showing again. Number one here, Spelljammer, that Steve Bender sent over to me. Some really cool kind of sludgy stoner rock kind of stuff. Again, a band I'd never heard of and had the opportunity to discover, which was pretty awesome. So huge, gigantic thanks to Steve on that. And then, of course, these two gems that Aaron sent over to me that I'm still just in complete awe over, which is a Black Sabbath Forbidden. He just VCLT'd that to me. You guys saw my reaction in the video that I did a couple days ago. So still drooling over that fantastic piece. And of course, just the ultimate right there, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge that he sent over. Just a beautiful 1991 US pressing, just absolute mint condition. Fantastic. So yeah, still freaking out over those. So thanks a lot, guys. I so appreciate it. And it's kind of awesome timing too. Not only is that Carnal, just like was a grail of mine, so just still crazy excited about that, but it also works well in kind of the other things that I picked up in completing my Van Halen collection, because I got a copy of Van Halen 3. 2 LPs on red vinyl there. Now, this is a bootleg. It was never officially pressed, but there's been a company that's been putting out some really, really good bootleg pressings that have just really been fantastic. And it's so odd. They've been so good, and the titles they have chosen have been so good. It took me from being someone that for the past 13, 14 plus years never, ever, ever, ever bought bootlegs. ever. Could not stand them, would not even look at one. The two I had in my collection were totally by accident because some record stores I went to out of town had them marked as just import and didn't clarify that they were actually bootlegs. And those were the only two I ever had. In the past 6 months, I've picked up maybe 10, 15 bootlegs with great excitement of picking them up. So gigantic change for me in that regard. And this is kind of another great example why. Great pressing, awesome album. Of course, it caught flack and didn't do that well. And, after Roth and after Hagar, Gary had some huge shoes to kind of fill. And I still think to this day, the thing that held him back was just the fact that he came from Extreme. If he would have been kind of a more no-name band at the time and would have came in with the voice that he had, I think Van Halen would have done okay with Gary at the helm. Even with fantastic songs like Without You, which I think was kind of the single off of this album, that is a freaking awesome track. And he nails it, especially through the chorus. So glad to finally have that on vinyl. If they come out with an official press, we'll think about it then. But until then, I am more than happy to have that. And I'll say the same thing about Van Halen Live, Right Here and Now. 3 LP set, and the exact same thing. I don't think there was ever an official vinyl pressing of this, but great bootleg right there, and I'll take that any day. So awesome completion of the Van Halen collection there. Next, actually, I'm gonna go with this here. Another very cool box set to share. Sade, This Far. This set came out about, was it a year ago? I don't remember exactly how long it was. Sold out quick as heck, and the secondary market added its tax on it quick as heck. And so it was one of those where I was just like, I guess I just won't have one of those. And I'm not paying $300, $400 for one. But I guess they decided to press a few more of them, which is awesome. So I was still lucky enough to get my hands on one of these. But it's just Sade, all of her studio albums. Great, awesome set. I think there was something, I guess it's not on this one, but I remember someone reading something off of a sticker that maybe it was on the first set of pressings that came out, that was somehow kind of hinting that there might be a new Sade album coming out. And they were kind of saying, between whatever it said on that hype sticker and the fact that there is this insert inside of the box set, which as you can see is like the perfect size of a record, that they're thinking there's a new album that'll be coming out by her, which would be awesome. But so very, very happy to get this set. Sade was someone I could care less about when I was growing up, but of course as you get older, start to mature a little bit, you start to get it, and definitely fell in love with her. So this is still sealed. I'm probably going to keep it sealed, actually, because I'm so happy to get that. And I have a very nice music on vinyl pressing of Lovers Rock and Love Deluxe. Love Deluxe definitely being my favorite Sade album, and very nice OG pressings of her first 3 albums. I don't really feel an overwhelming need to have to open the box. I'm just really happy to have the set. Soldier of Love I don't have on vinyl. I have the CD, but don't have that on vinyl. But still, out of the 6, that's probably my least favorite of the 6. But yeah, just so happy to finally get my hands on a copy of that. So that's freaking awesome. Moving right along, The Pleasure Seekers. I'm sure a band that you guys were probably very familiar with, but I was not. But I guess this is kind of early Suzi Quatro. I guess her and her sister were part of this band. And really just kind of some very cool early garage, like all-female early garage rock type of stuff. And I was kind of glad I didn't know this band, because this was really a great kind of new experience listening to this album, and I really loved it from front to back. So fantastic white vinyl, sounds great, and something new for me to discover, which is awesome. And then my girl, Diana Krall, This Dream of You. This is her new album. When it comes to modern day jazz vocalists, she is my absolute number one. I love Diana to death. she just has something kind of special about her that she brings a I don't know, she brings like a sensuality and a classiness and a sexiness back to kind of the world of jazz vocal. You know, when I think back to like Elena Horns and stuff like that, that's kind of what I always think about with them, is they were just, you know, maybe Dionne Warwick, you know, putting her in there too. They were just like, they were classy. They were just, you know, and I think it's always kind of special too when you can have artists like that, you know, like Lena, like Dionne, like Diana, that type of thing, that can come across very sexy, but all it screams is class. You know, a lot of artists just can't do that. They're either trying to sell themselves or, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I definitely love that about Diana Krall, and her music just has an awesome feel to it. So this is This Dream of You, her newest release. I can't fully comment on it yet because I've only listened to the first album, front and back. I haven't listened to the second one yet. But so far, it sounds just like typical, very typical Diana. So one of the few artists that as soon as something new comes out by her, don't need to hear it, don't need to think about it. I just want to get my hands on a copy of it. So awesome stuff there. Little Black Sabbath here. This is Heaven and Hell. This is the expanded edition, or whatever you call it. Comes with the bonus LP with the rarities and live versions. So I went ahead and picked that up. So just another nice one to have. Great addition on the 80s R&B side. The Boys. Messages from the Boys. This is from 1988. Just some of the stuff that I liked as a kid, and you know, the song "Dial My Heart" was just a fantastic kind of dancey R&B type of song, and I mean, I love it. And so typically, again, not an expensive album at all, but just one that I haven't had luck finding in great condition, but I was able to stumble across a sealed copy of it for just a few dollars, which was awesome. So spun this the other day, and it was just freaking awesome. So again, great addition to the 80s R&B collection there. A blind buy for me, probably someone you guys have known for a while, but M. Ross Perkins. I was just flipping through some stuff the other day, and it was in a discount bin. It was marked like brand new, sealed, marked down like $9. I just thought that looked kind of interesting. I think I'm gonna take a chance on that one. And my first thought was it was going to be something kind of, you know, psychedelic-y. I mean, it's kind of the impression you would probably get by the cover there until you look at the back. But it really is kind of more, I'm not going to say singer-songwriter because it's not that light, but definitely kind of flowing more towards that angle than a psychedelic type of thing. But I really did like it. I mean, it was, again, awesome just to completely discover something that I had no clue what it was. So M. Ross Perkins, new artist to me, and definitely a really cool new find. So next here, kind of going to the jazz side, a little Oliver Lake. This is Impala. I don't know why, but I love that cover. This is from 1987. Yeah, 87. Just a great saxophone player, nice jazz piece. And I really like this album too, because when you really sit and listen to it from front to back, it can definitely take you back to, you're spinning it, and then next thing you know, you're thinking, did I pull out some old, you know, pressing of something from the 50s Blue Note era or that type of thing? Because like there's a lot of places within this album that really goes back to that old school Blue Note flow of jazz. So for something that came out in the late 80s. So very, very cool piece. Again, you can recognize that cover from a mile away. If you're not familiar with Oliver Lake, make sure you check him out. Jeff Beck Group, another fantastic piece. I don't have a lot of Jeff Beck on vinyl, mainly because I don't necessarily like all of his stuff. I'm very, very particular with him. You know, self-titled, Olay, great stuff, and then this one here as well. But often too, you know, finding near mint Jeff Beck stuff is always a bit of a challenge. So when I saw this one pop up, I was like, heck yeah, I'm definitely gonna grab that. So Jeff Jeff Beck Group from 1972. Just him kind of doing his thing. Actually, the entire band was kind of doing their thing on this one. A really good kind of jam session on that album. So, great one there. Nice little pickup in the $2 bin, little Michael McDonald, if that's what it takes. Of course, this has his kind of big hit, I Keep Forgetting. I definitely love that song. Very popular song. It's been sampled a number of different times. But yeah, this is definitely one of my more likable albums. I shouldn't say like that. Actually, this is the album that I do like from him when it comes to his solo career. He's much easier to tolerate through all the Doobie Brothers stuff. It's all really fantastic. But with his solo career, there's kind of like very specific things that I like and albums that I like. Or actually, I say this album that I like. Most of his other solo stuff, I'm really kind of like, yeah. So, but again, found that the nice $2 bin, great pickups. I was more than happy to add that to the collection. Little Bruce, Born in the USA. Nice little OG pressing. I have both of the box sets with all the studio albums, but I've been wanting to go back and pick up all of his stuff as far as OG pressings go. So I was able to pick up a nice copy of Born in the USA, which is cool. And I found this for only $7, which was kind of nice. Because again, these freaking things, we see them sell regularly in the store for $20, $22, and like they fly off the shelves all the time. And it's still one of those hard things to kind of wrap my mind around with the resurgence, because there's still just so many albums in my mind that are still $3 albums or still $5 albums. But it's like, no, they're not anymore. It's just where the whole vinyl thing is right now. So anyway, so I was able to pick this up for $7, which was nice. Nice clean OG pressing of that. And really, again, a fantastic album. I mean, of course, you guys kind of know it, but I'm saying that from the standpoint that this is where Bruce tends to catch a lot of his flack. It threw him to superstardom, but it also made him catch a lot of flack because, this is where he's getting all poppy and too radio friendly and just on and on and on. But, I mean, screw that. There's some fantastic writing on here. And I always kind of say, too, even with stuff like Dancing in the Dark might be the most radio-friendly type of thing on here. And yes, it very much is. Very pop, very radio-friendly, and, all of that. But still, if you go in and actually listen to the lyrics, he's still dropping the same amazing Bruce stuff that he always does. It just gets a little covered up by the more poppy flavor around it. But for me personally, even the part towards the very end of the last verse where he says, you can't start a fire worrying about your little world falling apart, that is still probably my favorite delivered line by Bruce Springsteen throughout his entire career. At least it's in my top 5. Okay, I'll put it that way. Love the way he delivers that. And so, this album still holds a lot of staying power for me. Really cool stuff. And a few years ago, I was at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they had, I think it was when Herb Ritts had passed, who was the guy that did a lot of album covers that we all know, like most of the Bruce Springsteen, Melissa Etheridge, Prince, Madonna, like True Blue, and like all these Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin, all these album covers that we know. Like Ritts was the one that took all those photographs. So one of the exhibits they had was just stuff from album covers and it was kind of cool because they had the jeans, the hat, the belt, and the t-shirt. They actually had these exact pieces from the Born in the USA cover displayed in there, and it was, I don't know, it's weird how little things like that can kind of blow your mind when you're sitting there looking at the t-shirt and the hat and you're like, that's the Born in the USA cover right there. It was pretty cool. But let's see here. Let's move right along. Wynton Marsalis. Again, another one of the geniuses. Wasn't familiar with this album by him, but I mean, I know Wynton and I know he's just freaking awesome. So I picked this up. Only a couple bucks, so really nice find there. Just some more great jazz to add to the collection. And a nice OG pressing of Motor Booty Affair by Parliament. Again, Parliament and Funkadelic, those just are not OG albums that you see floating around in great condition. So to find one that looks like that, absolutely fantastic. A 1978 US pressing there. And you know, the Funk Masters, I mean, it's Parliament, plain and simple. So beautiful OG pressing right there. And then here, Thievery Corporation, another band that I was not very familiar with, but I was just kind of browsing around some stuff online. And I saw that album cover and I was like, that looks pretty cool. I need to kind of check that out. And listen to a couple of songs and just kind of fell in love with it immediately. It's kind of like a really light fusion with like some Latin flavor to it. Just really one of those mood setting type of albums. So really, really happy to kind of discover them. Love this to death. And this album has made me go and really kind of dive in to discover some of their other stuff too. This was their 2014 release. So fantastic album. Cannot recommend that enough. And a little bit on the funky side now. We got Chocolate Milk, Action Speaks Louder Than Words. Another just really great R&B funk album from 1975. Get some of the glare out of there. You know those boys were killing it. So yeah, a really good mixture of funk and R&B. And it also has a really cool cover on here. The song Tin Man, who I think, wasn't it America that had the song Tin Man? They do a cover of that and just kind of funk it up a little bit. It's a really cool cover song on there too. So yeah, Chocolate Milk, awesome album. Definitely check them out if you're not familiar with them. And kind of an upgrade piece right here, which is Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul. You know, legendary album. Definitely one of his, probably my favorite Isaac Hayes album. And if you are a hip hop fan, you listen to this album and you could probably name off 50 songs that have been sampled off of this one album. So, you know, any type of R&B and funk collection, this is an absolute must-have. But, yeah, I have kind of a reissue, which was like a 2010 pressing or something like that. And this came out in 1969. And I stumbled across this one the other day, which is a 1978 US pressing. So a slightly earlier pressing that was in fantastic condition, so I had to go ahead and pick that up. So I'm going to sell my other one, but yeah, it's just nice to have a somewhat earlier pressing. And if I find something a little earlier than 78, we'll do the same thing again. But beautiful piece there. And the last two, one kind of staying on the R&B side, and Peebles, I Can't Stand the Rain, which is definitely probably the biggest hit off of this album, if you're familiar with it. Tina Turner did a really good cover of that as well. But Ann is one of those ladies that just, she's one of those many names that should go down in the legend of female soul singers. And maybe she's not as big as, you know, a lot of the names that you tend to know about. But when you think about like Wright, Peebles, Gladys Knight, all down the line, like she's right there in the mix. Great soulful singer. So yeah, I Can't Stand the Rain is definitely probably the bigger hit off of this, but really from front to back, just some great old school soul. This is from 1974, I believe. But check out any of her albums. You'll pretty much be, you know, get a good feel for her and be happy with just about anything that you pick up by her. And last but not least, a little Pete Seeger, God Bless the Grass. An album I've been wanting for quite some time. Just never really stumbled across a good copy of it. You know, always kind of beat up, and it's also you know, kind of the singer-songwriter thing. Very low volume. You know, it's not some big band backing him up. So if you get an album that has any type of crackles or pops, they just shine right through. So I just waited for quite some time to find a near mint copy and was lucky enough to stumble across one finally. And then it's really weird too, because most of the songs on here are just kind of, just strange with the way he delivers some of the lyrics on here. I've always said the title is God Bless the Grass because, you know, he smoked and got so freaking high before he went in the studio and recorded this thing. And that's why his lyrics are so freaking weird and kind of off. And that's where the title of the album came from. I mean, that's possible. I just kind of made that up, but it wouldn't shock me if that was actually the truth. So, but yeah, nice to finally get some Pete, or get this particular Pete Seeger album in the collection. So, there you go, VC. Excuse me. Once again, I'm going to give a huge thanks to Steve and gigantic thanks to Aaron for the VCOT, which is awesome. Glad I got a chance to show that again. As always, let me know what you think about the finds, if you've been listening or digging any of this. And as always, we will talk to you soon. All right, take care, guys.